Coming up on Stone Nation.
At the end of the day, like you might get frustrated, but you can open the door, go for a walk, and you're generally somewhere where you want to be doing something that you love to be doing. And it really sets things into perspective very quickly.
Welcome to another episode of Stone Nation, a production of Park Media. Before I introduce today's guest, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, share, and leave a 5-star review. And if you find this podcast useful in any way and want to pay us the ultimate compliment, head on over to our Patreon page where you can subscribe to be a classic, stealth, or beast mode subscriber. Okay, welcome everyone to Stone Nation Happy Hour number 4. I'm super pumped to have you guys on. Thanks for coming on. And I gotta admit, I'm a little rusty because I haven't hosted an episode for a while. So, and then plus, it's happy hour, so I got my wine with me. So who knows what's gonna happen? But yeah, we might get crazy and wild. Who knows? But anyways, I really appreciate your guys' time to come on, and I'm super excited to be able to talk to you. And of course, Chris and Brittany, familiar faces. So glad to see you guys again, and congratulations on the wedding. Super
Thank you.
awesome. Hopefully, you guys will tell us a little bit more about it if you want to. But anyways, let's go ahead and kick off with introductions. So Stephen and Jenny, you guys want to start off?
Sure. Yeah. Steve and Jen, that's my wife. My wife over there in the glasses. We're remote because I'm working today, so she's at home. But we have a Stealth. We just picked it up about 2 weeks ago, and we've been looking for them for quite a while, and the opportunity came up, and we grabbed it, and we're pretty excited. It came a year too soon, but we're ready to go. And I am drinking, because I'm on duty today, I'm drinking a Waterloo grape, 100% neat. So I won't be getting too sloshed. But if I was home, I'd be drinking something much better than this. But
nice.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having us on.
Of course.
Hi, I'm Jenny. I'm drinking a Trader Joe's white tea and pomegranate juice. I just picked it up. It's my first time drinking it.
Good luck.
Because I think I saw one of your episodes before, and you have the Asian flesh, and I also have the Asian flesh. So I actually think I'm allergic a little bit. So I don't partake too much in it.
So actually, random factoid is that the majority of Asians have the Asian flush. That's why it's called the Asian flush, right? But it's because they lack the enzyme to break down alcohol completely, and technically, it's an allergic reaction. One of my Asian friends said that if you take an allergic like antihistamine, like not Sudafed,
like a Benadryl.
Was it Pepsi?
I'm sorry, what?
I thought it was Pepsi.
Yeah, it was Pepsi.
Did we try that one?
I tried Pepsi AC. Yeah.
Did it work?
Yeah. Wait. And that actually worked.
Yeah?
It did a little bit, actually. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I know the feeling. Yeah. So, anyways, we're going off tangents already.
So I just drink for the two of
us. Nice. Okay, Chris and Brittany, you guys want to go next?
Sure. Do you want to introduce the van or have me do it?
We're Chris and Brittany, and we have a 2021 Storyteller stealth mode. And we live in it on and off full time. Yeah, we've had it about a year.
Yeah, so we used to live in another van full time, and with a new job, I had to get a house for a bit with Brittany here, and we moved up to Montana, and then I guess was it May that we picked up the van, and started traveling a lot in it, and then basically hit the road again in September. So been kind of on the go since.
Nice. Wow. Andy, you want to go next?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Andy, and I live in home base out of Denver, and I have a 21 Beast, number 94, I think is what the dashboard says over there. And I'm drinking a nice ice cold Coors Light for being from Denver. I'm a big Coors Light fan.
Nice. I don't blame you. Coors Light. I don't know. That's the can that, like, the colder it gets, the bluer the mountains get, or something like that.
Oh yeah, nice. The stove fridge does a good job of keeping your mountains nice and blue.
Nice.
So
I love it.
Because I figured that's why most arm reach to the fridge for happy hour. So that was the other reason the van came in, was the choice for filming.
Awesome.
Wise
Great
choice.
choice.
Smart.
So if my head dips out for just a second, I'm just reaching over.
Or throwing up, one of the two, whatever.
Yeah.
We won't
I
judge.
won't stack
Yeah.
the empties behind me or anything.
Just when you get up, you'll just hear a bunch of bottle or cans get crushed and kicked
Yeah.
around.
I should have set my little
So,
trash can up.
it's all good. No judgment. That's what I love about this podcast, or at least this happy hour episode. But anyways, so I guess I'll kick it off. Right now it's July 10th, and on the 4th, Storyteller released the 2023 updates along with the new pricing. I'm sure that the majority of you guys know the price increase and have seen it and saw the upgrades and stuff. So I'm just kind of curious, what are your guys' initial thoughts? And like for you, Steven, since you just got yours and you kind of got it earlier than you were expecting, and Jenny, like what you guys' thoughts are being able to get a 2022 versus a 23, maybe, things of that nature.
Yeah, sure. So the plan was to get it next year, next July, and the opportunity came up to buy something or sell, and we talked about it quite a bit. And financially, it was that's a big decision for us, and we knew that the price was gonna increase, but we had no idea that it was gonna come out so soon after we bought ours. And I did the numbers, and I called Jen. I said, "Hey, you should feel at least a little bit better that we saved ourselves $19,500." So it's the price increase. I get it. I mean, you go to the supermarket and everything's so much more expensive than ever used to be, and I get it. I read the email, and the company is a pretty spot on company. They're not trying to make a ton of money off of us, So I think it's realistic. It's a shock if you're waiting for one and all of a sudden the price has increased. But I find ourselves pretty fortunate and just super lucky that it just fell in our lap the way it did. So, and we also got the Stealth number 1000.
Oh yeah.
So we got
that's cool.
Yeah. So we didn't even know. Actually, the dealer didn't know because we bought it from Conejo in Thousand Oaks, and he had gone back for the 1000 anniversary or the 1000 build celebration, and when he was there, he was telling me, he asked them, "Hey, where's the 1000? We're celebrating it." And they said, "Oh, we sent it to you 2 weeks ago." So they gave him the VIN number, and it turned out to be the one that we purchased. So on top of that, it was pretty cool.
Wow, that's way cool.
Yeah.
They had a little water bottle, and what was inside the water bottle? Like a towel or something.
A bandana. A bandana.
And it said the 1000 Storyteller, right, on the water bottle, like the printed graphic on it.
Wow.
So that was a nice surprise opening up the drawers after we brought it home.
That's really cool.
That's pretty cool.
You literally own the 1000 van that they've made. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's super special.
Yeah. So talking with it's really special, and we feel fortunate again for that. And we're asking Rick if he can call back and ask if we can get something similar like what you have on your dash, Andy.
Placards.
Something that, I think that'd be kind of cool. Stealth number 1000 or something like that. So he's
do a 1K or something.
Yeah, pretty stoked about it. Yeah. I don't know, something. We called our van Millie. So Millie is 1000. So it's Millie van.
No.
That's a fitting name.
Do you guys have names for your vans?
Yeah, we have one. Our van is Ferdinand, like the bull, because it looks pretty mean and aggressive, but you really gotta step on it if you want it to go anywhere.
My van isn't named yet. I don't know. We're kind of waiting for the universe to pick its name for it.
How long have you had yours, Andy?
We got it in October.
That's a long time to not have a name.
I know. I said it just hasn't called out yet. I don't know. I don't want to force it.
Yeah, true.
You gotta earn it. Like you can't just like pick something random, and you can, but it's way more interesting when it has a story.
So nothing exciting has happened in the Storyteller yet to even think about a name, or just not good enough?
I don't know.
Yeah,
just we've just been having so much fun. I haven't been that focused on it. When we're out in the van, or just you can't wipe the smile off your face. And so the last thing I guess I'm worried about is the name of it.
No, I get you. I'm sure you'll come up with something. But I mean, once you do, you got to let us know what you come up
I
with.
will. Well, then everybody else I meet has like such a great name with a good story. It's like, yeah, it's, like Chris said, you can't half-ass it and just Google something and the what the color of the shirt you're wearing and the street you lived on in the second grade or something. I'm not really going to go down that
Oh
route.
yeah. Google witty van
Yeah,
names.
I've gone down that rabbit hole, and it's
Yeah.
good for a chuckle, but you got to come something a little more unique.
Yeah, it's got to have meaning for sure. Most definitely.
Personality.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know Chris and Brittany, you guys had a van before the Storyteller. What was your previous van's name, or did it have a name?
So we had a couple different vehicles that we lived out of full time. The two that we built, we had her first gen Sprinter, which didn't have a name. I
Oh,
don't.
it was Wayne.
Oh, that's right. It was Wayne. So you can tell the story behind Wayne the van.
I don't know. There wasn't like a lot of story, but it was just like the party on Wayne from
Wayne's World.
what was that? What is that
Wayne's
show?
World.
Wayne's World.
Wayne's World.
Wayne's
Wayne's
World.
World.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like everything goofy would happen with that van. Like it's a T1N Sprinter, and so there's always just a bunch of weird little gremlins in it, and it just I don't know, it fit.
Yeah. There's a lot of talk sometimes that the newer vans have quirks, and they do, but the old ones were way quirkier. Like, I mean, just weird things like the lock mechanisms never really quite synchronized. So you would lock the van, and like all of them would go down except one. Like one would come up and it'd be like unlocked in that door, and then like sometimes we would be using it and it would lock every door except for the back door. So I remember like there was one period for like a week where we had to go in and out the cargo doors in the rear by crawling over the bed because none of the other locks would work in the van.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was just
So we had
crazy.
that one, and then we had I had an excursion that we had built into a camper. Well, I say we kind of assisted, and I did all the wiring and electrical, but her father, who's a carpenter, really built the whole interior. And we traveled in that one, and that one was named Smokey. So
Smoky. Nice.
yep.
I love it.
You also had an Airstream. I don't know if you had a name for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no name for the Airstream.
So, Chris and Brittany, you guys have been living full time in the van on and off for quite some time. So, I kind of want to do like a little dive in about your experiences, like how you guys end up not killing each other at the end of the day, and then if it's not too much, going TMI, like how do you guys use or figure out the bathroom situation? And the same thing, the same bathroom question will be thrown at Stephen and Jenny and Andy. But anyways, but yeah, if you kind of want to just share some of your experiences and your thoughts, and I guess why you guys keep on doing it.
Well, I will say that our situation is probably a little unique to most people. So our first date was when her company gave her permission to go fully remote and to get a van. So we independently both wanted to do the road life. I was already had been on the road for a year in my Airstream at the time we met. She was just buying her van, and so it was a scenario where both of us really liked each other, but there's not like a, hey, what are you doing Tuesday? Because you could be like in a totally different state when you both live on the road. So it was kind of a 0 to 100. Like we had to have a lot of serious conversations really soon. And then like basically just move into 40 square feet together and see how it goes. So there was a little bit of a risk there.
Wait,
And
how long ago
it,
was this?
That was 2019.
yeah, it was,
No, 2018.
yeah, it was 2019.
2019.
Yeah.
Okay, so like 3 years ago.
Yeah, we totally
Okay.
can keep track of the years. I think 2020 kind of throws a
2020
wrench
felt
into
like 10
things.
years.
Yeah.
I know, right?
But yeah, I think communications is a big thing. Like we talk about a lot of really big, serious things really quickly in our relationship, just so like you could get that on the road because you don't want to really waste your time when you're spending all of it with someone like in that small of a space.
And it really makes a big difference when you both start out wanting to travel like that. I think a lot of people get into the van thing because one person really wants to and the other person says, no, okay, I'll try it. And that makes it significantly harder. Like it's not over something you can't overcome by any means, but when you're both invested in it, it makes it easier when everything goes wrong to just laugh it off and kind of move forward. And we certainly found that in our first van, which it was a custom build, and we had all kinds of things that happened.
Was that Wayne?
Yep. Yep. Yeah, somehow she convinced me that we should not travel in my 27-foot Airstream and that we should definitely move into her Sprinter 144 Wayne and just wing it.
On our very first trip, it started downpouring rain, and we were probably somewhere near Big Sur or something.
Yeah.
And it was like the first day, like when we left to be full time, it started to downpour rain, and the windshield wiper, one of them like overcorrected and just completely snapped off the van.
Oh my god.
So we only had one windshield wiper for a while.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Was someone like holding the other person while they're out the window, like trying to like wipe down the windshields?
I had to like pull over, like
Yep.
whenever it would happen, and
Yeah, it would happen
drive.
consistently. I had to remove it after a while until we could get a new part because it just like you would have this metal arm like flying around and it could totally break the window or just go awry. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy.
That's crazy. Good old Wayne.
Yep. But yeah, I think most of the stuff came pretty naturally for us. The bathroom situation was surprisingly not a big issue.
We have a very strong rule though that no number twos in the van.
Yes, this is
Like
true.
and it is kind of more of an emergency toilet than anything. We don't really use it.
Yeah, we try to either use nature's facilities when we're further out into the backcountry, and then if we're in towns, then we usually just stop into public restrooms.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's what I used to do. So
yeah, it seems to work pretty well. But the only exception that we use the toilet really is like if we're in somewhere and we're having a stealth camp, which we used to do quite often, and you're in the middle of the night, you're going to use the toilet in the van.
yeah, it's like you catch someone like drinking water at 8 p.m. and you're like, what are you doing? Don't do that. You're gonna have to pee in the middle of the night.
This is a mistake.
Yeah, plan ahead always.
Right? Oh gosh. Whew. Even though I sold Lucy, I still remember those good old days. But anyways, so what about Stephen and Jenny? What do you guys do in regards to the bathroom situation? I know you guys haven't had your van that long, so I don't even know if you've been in this situation, but it's got to be like a topic of discussion prior to getting the van, no?
Yeah, we went to the Van Expo, and Jen had a lot of questions for people that were kind of like Brittany and Chris. They lived in their vans, and we had all kinds of answers, didn't we?
Hmm. Yeah, that was I think I asked almost everybody what their situation was, but I haven't used anything in the van yet. So I don't know how that works, but I think the consensus pretty much is to use public or nature as much as possible and use it, sparingly.
Gotcha.
So
And
and that good hard rule that Brittany has is
that's
a
a
good
good
one
one.
too.
That's a
Number
very
two.
good one.
only number threes
Yeah.
in case of emergency.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. If you have to. Yeah. Last chance. Yeah.
And
But yeah, we've talked about it a lot, and I think we're looking at the same thing. It's just trying to use when we fuel up and stuff like that is usually a good time to use the restroom and kind of stretch your legs and everything.
Yeah.
So if you're stuck in there and using the restroom all the time, you never get to go out and you never stretch.
yeah,
So
exactly.
it's a good opportunity to do that,
Yeah.
and that's what we're thinking. But we're super novice about it.
Well, I remember when I was traveling, I would
Obviously.
stop every 2 hours to let little K dog out and then to go to the bathroom and stuff like that. And so, I'd I'd make myself go to the bathroom every 2 hours or every time I stopped. So, yeah, and I was kind of like with Brittany and Chris in regards to, just using nature or, no number twos for sure. It's a no.
We also try to like plan ahead, like think, because it's really early in the morning. I work really early in the morning, so it's kind of like park somewhere that you know that you're going to be able to go to the bathroom in the morning somewhere.
That's smart. Yeah.
So we try to think about that too when we think about our parking.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like especially on the California coast, it can be very difficult. So we'll usually be strategic about being close enough to, I don't know, like a 10-minute drive to like a city park or state park or just something that we could go use those facilities in the morning when they open.
Grocery stores also open very early.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's a good tip. That's a good tip.
Good tip.
Toward the end, I just got super lazy and I just stayed at truck stops. So I was like, screw it. But I kind of like the white noise with the diesels running in the background, but that was just me. But I got really lazy at the end. I'm not gonna lie. But so what about you, Andy? Do you travel with? You said you had a fiance before we started recording. You guys do a
We
lot of
do a lot
traveling.
of weekend trips. Long weekend trips is really how we use the van mostly. We did a 8-day trip in early May, and that was our longest. Continuous trip, but it's hard for me to take take weeks or 2 weeks off of work, but I could take a Friday and a Monday. And being in Denver, I say in 3 to 6 hours, we can get to so many cool places on a Friday afternoon and be able to camp. So, yeah, when we're on the road traveling, for sure, you're stopping to get gas or water or snack, whatever. So using the public restrooms, every opportunity. We actually used the toilet for the first time last night at the Evergreen Mode meetup, as we were, camping with a bunch of other users and got back from the concert late night at Little Bear, and so I had to use the bathroom a couple times after drinking with the Stowe crew all day. So that was a first, but usually we're big into like the state campgrounds in Colorado and around here, so there's always a vault toilet, or sometimes there's actual running water. That's always kind of a shock when you're out in the van for more than a few days. You kind of get acclimated to like that vault toilet world. So, but yeah, when people ask me that outside of the van life, I always said, I've camped my whole life and I've driven a car, since I was 16, and never had I had to go to the bathroom inside either one of them previously. So, why would I need to do it now?
That's actually a really good point.
I think it makes a big difference
Mhm.
how much you're moving. So, like Young Ron, like I know that you traveled and drove quite a bit in your van. Like you weren't sitting in one spot necessarily for a week at a time usually.
Yeah.
At least that's how I perceived
No,
it.
that's
Maybe I'm wrong,
exactly how
but
it was.
I think if you're rolling and moving more, like it makes it easier to pull over somewhere and stop. Where if you set up shop somewhere, you're like, okay, realistically, the toilet doesn't have capacity for even like a week, especially for two people. Um, so you kind of got to look at what options you have outside of that.
Yeah. No, I agree. I actually started this might be too graphic, but I've said it on other episodes before, so I don't have an issue talking about poop and pee. But anyways, um I got the tip from actually Chad and Paul. Like I do my business in a plastic bag and I buy like the powder, like the poo powder. It's literally called poo powder. Or you can like go to REI and they have like the really thick bags that already have the powder in it. And then I would just do my
Mhm.
business and then I would like throw it away and or tie it up and throw it away or whatever. And I found that to be a lot easier than actually trying to use the actual cassette toilet how it was designed. Because you could like every time you use it you could throw it away and not have to worry about the smell, and then like trying to rinse that thing out and like all that crap, like just was not my style. And then trying to figure out where you're gonna like dump it, and I don't know. So that's what I started doing. I'd say the latter part of my van life there, but I don't know if you guys have done that in the past, or if you've ever heard of people doing that, or
We we haven't. I mean, we've heard of people doing it for sure. We didn't, just because like two of us living in the van, like we were concerned about the amount of bags we would be
mm,
using, like really just tossing away all the time.
mm-hmm.
And also like once again, if we set up shop, like we both work remotely during the week, so if we set up somewhere for a week in the desert, like it's a lot of crap in a bag to be
Yeah, for
to be
sure.
holding around your van.
Yep.
So we tried not to, but we did look at there's a company called Trillino that one of our friends actually started importing recently, and it's like it uses a similar system to what you're talking about, but it doesn't use necessarily like bags. It's like all in like a contained thing, and it actually is like the only one I've ever seen that fits in the shower basin
Oh
still.
wow.
Like it's short enough to actually fit, but it's like two different containers that you can just lift out and then dump them out and then put them back in, and it uses the same dry chemicals and
Oh
stuff.
really?
So we may check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you have a link or something, let me know because I can. If it's okay, I'll throw it in the show notes. But I don't know.
totally. Yeah, we'll get you the link.
Okay, that's cool. So I was gonna ask you, Andy. So you went to the Evergreen
It was a
meetup
ton of
this
fun.
last weekend. How was it?
Yeah, so
What do
got
you
to
think?
meet a whole bunch of new Stowe owners. I'd only known three before that I'd met in person, and so I about doubled or tripled that over the weekend. So that was a lot of fun. Um, you know, thanks to Flare Space for hosting.
Nice.
Great property they have there. So that was really cool. And yeah, hitched a ride with some of the guys down to Little Bear in downtown Evergreen for the Nada show with Jason, and so that was yeah, great time. Great get to actually get to meet a lot more local Stowe owners. We met some from Florida and I think North Carolina and Moab, but we never met anybody here in
Oh.
the Denver area. So met a couple other owners in the right here in the local area, and then the van expos in Eagle next weekend. So several of the people that were in Evergreen this weekend are going to be
Mm,
up there. So be excited to see everybody again.
nice. Are you planning to go to the Overland? Is it Mountain
I think
West
so. I got to
in
look at my
Loveland
dates. I got a couple weddings that I have to
in
attend coming up
August?
in the couple months, so my calendar's filling up quick, fast, and in a hurry. So got to figure out what all you can get to, and still be able to relax once in a while.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. So I'm actually. I was before we started recording. I went on Expedia. I want to try to fly into Denver and then go up to the expo for a day and then stay at the Haylines for a night and then fly back down. So I don't know if you're going to be able to make it for that,
Yeah,
but if you
absolutely.
do, please let me
Maybe
know.
pick you up at the
I'd love to
airport and
meet you in
give you a ride
person.
up there if the timing works out or something.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. I mean, you got to deal with kimchi though. I know that you don't let your own dogs in your
Well, we
van,
took
so I don't
the
know how you feel about
mother-in-law's dog
kimchi.
this weekend for the first time, so uh, Kimchi's size looks a little bit more manageable than my two German shepherds. That's the with two people in here trying to get around in the
Yeah.
mornings and get dressed and brush your teeth or make a bite to eat is tough enough anyways. With you don't need 150 pounds of hairy shepherds clogging up the way.
I know. I call kimchi taco size for bigger dogs. He's just like the perfect van dog size, but like when you have a German Shepherd or something like that, he's like taco sized. Anyways, but so Stephen and Jenny, have you been anywhere like I don't know, like I guess walk us through where you've been, what your plans are, like what you guys want to do, like what are
Yeah.
your guys' big plans?
Our big plan. Well, I came from the jeeping world, so I no longer jeep, but we did a lot of adventures with the rooftop tent and stuff like that, going out to the desert multiple times, and this is just a step up. We're just kind of moving up, and so we do have some experience going out. And obviously, the bathroom in a jeep is you're going to stop and you're going to fuel up and use the restroom as well. So um, it's not too new for us as far as that. It's just we have a lot more room. Our big plan. I'm retiring in a couple years,
Congrats.
and the big plan is to, yeah, thank you, take off for a year and just
Nice.
travel. So I think a question we're going to have for Brittany and Chris is how do you travel full time with
With
dogs?
dogs. Yeah, that
So
was going to be my question.
I know Andy, your dogs are pretty big, but yeah, ours are a little bit smaller, but nevertheless, they're still kind of walking around on the same floor you are. Um, but we haven't really gone anywhere. Like I said, I've had it for 2 weeks, and I've probably worked about 10 of those days so far.
Oh, that sucks.
It's just really busy where I'm at right now. We do plan on going to Utah my folks live out there, so we're going to drive up to Park
Ooh,
City
yeah.
in August, which will be nice.
That's a great area.
So we'll spend, and then we're going to do some camping up there as well. Yeah, it's beautiful. So that's kind of our big trip. We'll see how it
Yeah.
works out. But,
If you get a chance, swing by Warner Vans over in Salt Lake City. Yeah. If
I
yeah, if
saw
you
that.
have
Yeah.
anything go wrong, just swing in and my tip to get seen the same day is try to get there as early as possible. Like I think they open up at 7. But if you can get there by like 8 or
Okay.
9 and it's nothing major, you should be able to get in, at least get diagnosed at, you know, but no,
Mhm.
obviously knock on wood, like we don't want anything to happen, but even though, like, even if you don't have anything wrong, you
Yeah.
should just go
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
and just say hi to the crew, and worst case scenario, you can just like, oh, Young Wah told me to come say hi, and they're like, oh, and like get to see the area and stuff. And then like the
Yeah.
Demos is out there.
Sure.
There's another company that I can't remember off the top of my head, but they have a slip differential for the Sprinter that's out there. They have Acorn Vans. I know Tony Warner. He just released his new. I forget the name of it, but like a suspension. And I was talking with Paul Pritz. Well, I guess technically it was last month, and he was saying that he drove it down in Baja, and he's
Hmm.
like, wow, he has the Agile suspension kit, and he was like, it. I mean, no disrespect to Agile or anything, but he's like, it's just amazing. Everything's automatic and it's super smooth, and
Hmm.
um, but anyways, going off on a tangent, but
Yeah, the valving on his system is supposed to be pretty
oh really?
spectacular. I've talked to a few people about it, and like I don't have all the tech details on me. I would totally butcher it if I tried to tell you, so I'm not going to. But from everything I heard on like the way that it is on the shocks and the valving on them, and like the way that it all works with the stock suspension or the stock geometry of the system of the van, it's supposed to be pretty
Really?
phenomenal.
Wow.
Yeah. I want to say I saw a YouTube video when they were at back to Baja, I think it was, or
Mm-hmm.
down to Baja, and he was just going
Yeah,
through a bunch of whoops. Pretty spirited for a
Yeah.
Sprinter van, and that looked
Yeah.
pretty impressive.
It did. It's so hard to tell though when you watch it on YouTube. It's like not the same thing, but from
Hmm.
what I saw, it was definitely very impressive. So, for my fly
Hmm.
fishing meetup, I'm flying in. I'm renting one of their vans, and I'm hoping it has the built-in suspension so I can test it out. So, Tony, if you're listening, I'm sorry if I abuse your van when I rent it, but anyways, but yeah, anyways, yeah. So it
Yeah.
sounds like you have some fun time. Like as long as you can like get off work or try to retire an year early if possible. I don't know. No.
Oh no, no. 2 years is it, and then
Okay.
we're good. The van, like I said, came a year early,
Mm,
so the whole idea was to kind of work it out, shake it down, get everything all fixed and repaired, whatever it
Well, hey, you
needed to
saved
do, and
20
then
grand.
we're on
So
our way. But
you just need
we're
to
a year in
upgrade
advance, so
your
that's fine.
yeah, you just
We
need to
won't.
trust me.
upgrade
That's true.
your blinds, and
I'm high
you just
fiving
put 20
myself.
grand in your
Yeah.
pocket. I'm telling I was
yeah.
when Youngwa said
I'll
we were
tell
going
you
to
what,
Yeah,
talk
Andy,
I
about
would
the new
those
van, I'm
blinds are
like, I
pretty
just want to
sweet.
know when those are
Those
going to be
things are
available
nice.
to buy online. I've been like refreshing the accessories page every morning when I get to the office because they do look phenomenal. That
I
I'd be really stoked about that. But yeah, the hike is a little bit um glad I got to 2021. I'll just say that,
I don't know, those bug screens and the relocation of the 110 and the bug screens, I think, were the top of my list. Like the window shades are sweet, but
Yeah, they did a great
yeah,
job
I
with
don't
the
know.
soft
I
goods.
think I would take the bug screens first.
Oh really?
I don't know. I would go window shades for sure.
yeah.
Who do you guys know who makes the window
No,
shades
somebody
and the
put it on
and
the
the bug
Facebook page
screens?
asking, and I don't think there was any comments or anything on it because I was following very closely. Like, I want to know the exact same thing.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to like start any rumors,
It's
but I
happy
am.
hour, right? No,
So, but but I know, right? So the window screen shades, they remind me of what Rob from Overland Gear Guy makes. He used to make the Havelock wool ones, and they kind of look like that, but not as to like the winter insulation like specs, if that makes sense. So they're a little bit thinner, but just the way how, because it definitely had insulation in it from what I
I was
saw
gonna say
in
a
the
puffy
videos, right?
Patagonia
And
jacket is what
then
it
the way
looked
that
like.
they,
Just like a
yeah,
puffy jacket.
exactly,
Right?
yeah, exactly.
400 per
Probably
window,
the same cost.
a
I
grand
know,
for the
right?
big one in front.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, you looked at it, that's $50 right there. No. But no, I don't know. I don't want to start any rumors, but it kind of looks like that. So I'm curious to see who they outsource that to. So, but anyways, I was just curious if anyone knew. But yeah, I'm with Chris. The bug screen.
Does the beast come with all those bags and stuff? Isn't
Hmm.
that from the gear guy?
Yeah,
It is. Oh, so it makes sense that he would kind
yeah.
of stay on board. Yeah,
And
I
he's
can see
actually
where you're
based
going with
out of
that.
Salt Lake City. So again, like, yeah, try to go
He is.
out there. There's a lot of van people out there,
Yeah.
to be honest. And just be like, hey, I talked to Young Law. There's a donation discount for 10% off of everything. So just make sure if you buy anything there,
Yeah.
just be like, hey, give me the discount or whatever. But yeah, definitely stop and.
And stoke the fires of the rumor mill. See if you can find out if he made the
Well, I'm just
covers.
gonna. I know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I know Jeffrey and Lee and Andrew and all them listen. So I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm gonna start that rumor. Hi, you guys. Anyways, no,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's the bug screen. I think is a game changer, just because. I mean, well, Chris and Brittany know being full time. It's like you never know where you're gonna be or how long you're gonna be and how many bugs are out there, and yeah, it's insane. I still want to know why they.
Being most of the time though in California, we kind of forget about bug screens, and
Yeah.
then we came to Minnesota for the summer, and
It's bad.
it's bad here.
We don't actually carry our bug screens anymore, because like when you live in a van, like you have so much stuff already. Especially like we have a lot of hobbyists, so like we'll carry mountain bikes, paddleboards, climbing gear, backpacking gear, and all kinds of other stuff. Honestly, fishing gear, dive gear, um, and we don't have external boxes. So like the bug screens, by the time we folded them the way that we needed to put them away, like the magnets ended up like rotating and
Mm,
bending to the point where like they never snapped together right, and we were like, nah, whatever. Like we'll just leave it and save the room. But they would have been real nice in Minnesota.
yeah. Well, I don't know why they don't team up with Roloff. I wonder what the hold up there is. There's got to be something. I don't know. Because everyone asks them, why aren't you doing Roloff? And I know it's probably to the point where, like,
The vent
don't
fan
ask me
does a
about
pretty good
Roloffs.
job of exterminating bugs at nighttime, I
Anyways.
find. Yeah, you got to get like a paper towel when you go to close the fan before
Oh,
you leave
really?
to go home or to the next spot because they
Trenches
all
them.
get sucked up there in the middle of the night.
That's awesome. So, Stephen and Jenny, you guys, I just assume being basically brand new owners, you guys got to have some questions maybe that we can help you with. I don't know.
Yeah. Like I said, Brittany and Chris is cohabitating together. Jen and I get along very well when we have two boys as well, older. They're one just graduated Davis, the other one's out of high school, but um, so they're not going to be doing the old 50 state thing with us. But just cohabitating when we're alone, we get along very well. But I know there's going to be moments, right, when you're just like, okay, I'm done. How do you guys deal with that? It's probably like a personal question, but do you find an outlet as far as like riding your mountain bikes or kind of getting it
Yeah,
out?
I would say like usually, I don't know, like we don't really have too many moments. I feel like normally the tension points is like either when I break something or like something goes wrong, like with our equipment or our gear or something, and then Brittany is very level headed. I think I'm the one who probably gets a little more like panicked in the moment. Not panicked, I
Uh-huh.
guess, just like a little like, dang it, like super frustrated. And then I'll cool off pretty quick. But I think like I'll hop on my mountain bike and go do something, or
Mm-hmm.
just take a moment to like sit outside. That's one of the huge advantages of being in these vans, is like they enable you to be in these amazing places, right? So at the end of the day, like you might get frustrated, but you can open the door, go for a walk, and you're generally somewhere where you want to be doing something that you love to be doing. And it really sets things into perspective very quickly of, whatever this thing is that I'm frustrated with, this is so
Mm-hmm.
minuscule. It's really not a big deal. And I think that helps me a lot for sure.
Yeah, and again, just communication. I think we overly communicate about things, like to the point where you have to. I want to get into that drawer. You need to move over there, or are you going to sit up on the bed, or are you going to sit down here? Because we need to switch. I need something
Yeah.
from over there, so you either need to grab it for me, or you need to move.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I mean, that we definitely overly communicate, to the point where we almost plan like what were the next like 2 3 things that we're doing, right? So if we get up in the morning and the first thing I'll do is like, okay, do you have a meeting? When do you have meetings? And she's like, oh yeah, I have one at this time. I'm like, okay, like cool. Why don't you sit up in the front? We'll swivel the chair around. You can work there. I'll make the coffee and be out of your way for this time. I have a call like at noon or whatever it is, as an example. But then, when I have my calls, like we can either switch positions, or you can make the lunch and I'll do my work. And so we just kind of make sure that whatever we're doing, we're not going to be in each other's way while we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Do you guys have any, what do you guys use for your Wi-Fi?
That has been an evolving situation lately. So we used to, and still kind of do, use just like hotspots on different carriers. So we had a T-Mobile, a Verizon, and an AT&T hotspot with MIMO antennas. They're like just a $35 antenna that plugs into the hotspot itself, and we found that they actually were working better than the WeBoost that we had.
Hmm.
About 2 weeks ago, though, we did get a Starlink, and we
Oh,
haven't really gotten to use it much yet. But when we did test it, we were pulling, I think, 140 megabytes per second off of it. So we're hoping that the Starlink will be a new solution for us, as long as they don't kind of get all overridden. I don't know if you guys have, if you're not Starlink users, you probably haven't seen it, but there's a big battle going on right now where Dish is trying to turn the Starlink 12 gigahertz service or signal for use for 5G mobile service.
mm,
And basically, the gist is if they flood the lower atmosphere with 5G, then the Starlink connectivity is never going to make it through the
Huh.
noise. So Starlink is basically going to become useless. So there's this big battle going on right now between Dish and Starlink customers.
Hmm.
well,
Hopefully, we can get that to work though, because it would be significantly cheaper to just use a Starlink and not have to have a hotspot plan on every single service. Because
Yeah,
none of them offer one big enough. We're both on Zoom calls all day for work, so we use a lot of data. So we just couldn't find a data plan that was big enough. And then having multiple carriers, it was nice because we typically would have service on one of them in most places.
yeah. It kind of allowed us to cover all the gaps between each network's coverage. Um, I'm trying to remember the name of the site. Is it the RV Mobile Internet something? What is
Yeah.
that? There's a website. So I think it's RV Mobile Internet Resource or something like that. And oh,
Oh,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. So their stuff is phenomenal. I mean, we learned so much using their website. We bought a membership, love it. Highly recommend if you are considering different options of how to gain cellular access, especially for working remotely, check out their site.
Thank you. Yes,
oh
we
yeah,
have two
yeah.
dogs, so any tips or challenges, things to be aware of?
We're so we've only been dog sitters in the
Okay.
van, but we've been dog sitting golden retriever. And it honestly wasn't a huge challenge because of the Volta system and the AC unit in the stove. Obviously, dog owners, that's like a huge selling point for these
Yeah.
vans. But we never really fully appreciated just how much of a difference it would make. Like I've had dogs that I've traveled with full time before. I was always worried about, and this was in the Airstream, but I was like, is the Airstream cool enough? Is it getting enough airflow? Like, how is the dog doing? Like, it was very limited time that you could spend with them. But with the Stowe, I mean, we usually were able to exercise her enough during the day, and then if we did have time that she needed to be in the van, we had a kennel that was underneath the bed, and it was really nice because that was kind of like her space, right? Like she was able to we leave the door open, she could go in there, hang out. We had the AC on. It was cool. It was quiet. It was insulated from everything else. And then it also was nice because it's a hard kennel, so you don't lose all of the storage in the back. Like there still is ways to stack on top of around the kennel, like where you can still make room there and then still have full use of your space being, the bed, the groove lounge, the front seats. So for us, that was like a
Well,
really
that's a good idea.
good solution.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
The first couple days that we had her, she wasn't sure where to go, and I think having the kennel open, she kind of knew that was
Her
her
safe space.
space and that she wouldn't be bothered if she was in there.
Yeah, for sure. I think I don't know how old your dogs are, but the first time that they're in the van, I think there's a lot of excitement, like, oh, this is a new
Hmm.
thing, and especially depending on how they're used to riding in your vehicles,
Mm-hmm.
they may just be hopping all over the place, and that can be problematic in a van, especially when you're moving, because if they're in a car and you hit the brakes, there's only so far they can go. They kind of
Right.
lean up against the front seats or the side wall or whatever. In the van, if they're sitting on the bed and you hit the brakes, they have a long way to go before they hit the front of the car. So having her in the crate and somewhere where she felt safe and she was contained, I think was a really good, not only safety for her but security, and helped calm her down.
Yeah, that's a good tip. Thank you.
And it wasn't our dog, but we just
They
camped
were
for the first time with a dog last night, and we left to go to the concert for a couple hours, and we brought a crate with us as well, and we were kind of like, hopefully she's not crying or whining, because when you put her in the crate, at the house, sometimes my fiance keeps a video camera on her, she could talk to her and whatnot. But like she just had so much fun out camping that she was just super silent and happy in the van. And same thing, we went to lunch at a brewery on the way home from Evergreen, and same thing, like my fiance would go out and check with her every, oh, I finished my salad, I'm gonna go check in the car. Go. But she was totally silent. So I think, yeah, that they get their own little spot, and they settle down, and way cooler in the van than it was outside. So I think she was stoked to be chilling in the shade and in the AC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're gonna take them
Totally.
to
And I think
Utah, right? We're gonna take them to on our
Yeah.
Utah trip, so hopefully they'll get a little bit of
What kind of
exposure.
dogs do you guys have?
Yeah. Our oldest,
Australian
Okay.
Labradoodles.
Super cute.
yeah. But the first time we put the older one in, she pretty much took over the groove lounge. So she hung out there and is like, I'm cool. The little one is all over the place. Can't find. I think it's kind of similar to what you were saying. Just doesn't know where to go. But the older one is super
Yep.
comfortable on the groove lounge.
Just fair warning,
Yeah,
we
it's
probably had 13 vans lined up, something
And I
like
think
that, last night at the meetup, and the dogs can't tell their van from the neighbor's van. And so more than once we had a dog, like Kayla was getting my fiance was getting dressed, and Raisin was somebody's dog, and she jumped right into our van and up on the bed and was like giving Kayla kisses while she's getting dressed and whatnot. So kind of funny, they don't know where their own home base is. They're just jumping in and out of every van they see, and so that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, they only know one van. Yeah, funny.
Another good resource you guys might want to reach out to is Jason and Emma Walsmith, because I know they travel with their pups as much as possible. So,
Oh yeah.
and they're I'm not gonna butcher their breed, but I would say they're large dogs. I think
Their
were they at the
Britneys are
meetup?
They
Yeah,
were
I would
both
say
there
medium
yesterday.
large. Also, did we leave? Did we lose?
Yeah, she just said she lost her
Oh
battery.
no. Okay. Well, shoot.
Yeah, I'd say they're in the
Hopefully,
Yeah.
maybe she can
40, 55,
plug in.
60 pound range. They're two dogs. They were at the meetup
Yeah.
yesterday. Um,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
brought their
One's old
rooftop
and one.
tent to Evergreen this time, not the van. So they had a different setup.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, okay.
because they're mowed. The LTs should be ready. They said like in the next week or two, and so they got their service done on their classic and detailed and everything. So they're like, we're not driving that. The next person to drive it's the new owner. So they brought out a
Mm.
Toyota with a rooftop tent. So it was pretty cool.
Oh, okay. Oh, they didn't even bring their van. Okay. So, random question, just out of curiosity. If when you bought your van at the time, if you had a choice between the Ford or the Mercedes chassis, which one would you pick and why?
I'd still get the Mercedes. I think one, I'm a Chevy guy, so I'd have. I don't know that my garage or my driveway would accept a Ford parked in it. So
Those are fighting words.
yeah, I know. And but you know, yeah, I don't know, just the Mercedes quality, the build, there's its little gremlins and its little quirks and whatnot, but at the end of the day, and especially I think the more it gets used and the more miles you put on it, you're gonna really get that engine broken in, and you could drive this thing for 300,000. I know there's I've yet to have any trouble finding diesel. At all in our travels. Now we've basically stayed in the Southwest, so definitely can't speak for the rest of the country, but and we haven't had to really do any service, so I can't really say how much that would affect my decision. But I love the Mercedes chassis. It just looks cool.
What about Steven?
Yeah,
Oh,
I would
go ahead.
agree.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
mean,
Oh, go ahead. I would agree too. That's what kind of got me going on it is the Revel in the beginning. A buddy of mine in Colorado had one, and just loved it. I love the whole idea of we went we went to Moab on motorcycles, but he brought the bike in the back and everything, and I was just like, I was blown away. And ever since then, I've always liked that Mercedes chassis. Um, when the Ford comes out, I'm kind of along the same lines. I'm not really a Ford guy. Um, oh,
Oh,
looks
you're
like she's
back.
coming back. Uh, and it's also four-wheel drive. I think that's kind of important. And I'm actually looking into lockers
Ooh.
in the future if it ever comes to that. But
What have you been looking at?
um,
mhm.
yeah, I would definitely stick
Oh,
with
sorry.
the
Okay.
ARB one. Yeah.
Versus there's really only
Oh, there
two.
you are.
It's like Owls and Agiles with the ARB one,
Mm-hmm.
right? Unless there's something else that
Yeah.
I've been kind of
Yeah.
MIA the last couple months, so maybe there's something else out on the scene that I don't know about. But just out of curiosity, like, why would you pick the ARB one over the other one?
Um, I don't know too much about the Owl one, but ARB's been around for years, and just coming out of the Jeep world, to have a locker in the back, you don't even almost need four-wheel drive if you have a locker sometimes, right? So um, ARB to me seems like it's tried and true, and it's been around for a long time. Um, I don't know too much
one
about the
thing
Owl.
that one thing that I think is really key with the locker, like the traction for sure. I mean, obviously, huge advantage, right? Like you came out of the Jeeping world, like
Mhm.
makes a massive difference having a locker on a vehicle. But a specific advantage with the Mercedes is that their traction control systems use braking
Mhm.
to simulate kind of a locker and provide traction in low traction scenarios. And it works really well, but these vans have a power issue, especially at elevation. And so, like, we've had multiple scenarios where our van will fully run out, like we're on the floor and it just stops moving, even though it has power to keep going. And the reason is because that traction control system is really kicking in
Mhm.
from the best that we can tell. This is not an expert official advice by any means, but from the best that I can tell, it's the traction control system like kicking in and hitting those brakes. From the folks that I've talked to, the lockers, you're kind of negating that traction control system because it immediately has the ability to like bypass that in the rear.
That's
So
good.
you're not having brakes applying pressure to keep that slows the van down. And you're getting a new gear ratio with that locker package that also gears the van down further and helps it give it that extra power that it needs. So like it's kind of like a dual win in that way that should help the van's performance quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure.
If you get it and you test, especially like coming from the Jeep world and whatnot, and you go and actually put it to the test and stuff, I definitely want to be able to talk to you later on and see what your thoughts are. So, and just on a side note, if you didn't know,
Yeah.
Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, you're still with Onyx Off Road? Yeah. So he's
Mhm.
definitely in the overlanding world and whatnot.
Yeah.
So he's a great resource, and um, basically like whatever Chris tells me about off road stuff, I'm like, okay. but but
Yeah.
anyways, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if you want to get with Chris, if it's okay, I'll with him like later on off the record or whatnot. I'm sure he
For
can
sure.
help you out with that. um I don't know if you listened to the
Yeah.
episode
Appreciate it.
that I did, the last one I did with John from Owl, but he went into detail about his locker. So I'm just kind of curious, just
Hmm.
real world experience, like not to say like who's gonna be king, but why someone likes this over this and vice versa. Because it's the same thing. It's like agile rip kit or the VC suspension. It's like, well, everyone has their preferences. So, but anyways, but yeah, if you do
Right.
get it, please
Mhm.
let me know because I'd love
Yeah.
to pick your brain on it and maybe go with you on
For
a
sure.
test drive.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah.
If you do
So
get it,
Stephen and Jenny, if you go ahead,
I was just gonna
Chris.
say, if you do get it, see if you can find an obstacle that really challenges the van quite a bit and film it like without the locker. And then when you get the locker installed, run the same obstacle.
Yeah.
I'd love to see the
Yeah.
difference.
For sure. For sure.
So have you guys done a like your first mod yet, or do you have one like that you're waiting? You have an appointment at Owl or Adventure Vans or something like?
Yeah. So like when I say this van kind of fell on our lap, it did. So unfortunately, somebody they got approved, and uh, it came time to purchase the van. And when it got approved, the Conejo upfitted it quite a bit, so it's really well done. It has the van compass, the Falcon shocks, the Arsenal wheels from Black Rhino, all the skid plates. The guy who was going to buy it really did it well. A twin ARB air compressor and stuff like that. So I'm pretty good with what's on there right now. I know that we're looking for something as far as Wi-Fi because Jem's going to work out of the van as well. So I think that's probably the thing we're going to look at. And immediate would be tinting, just to kind of cool up the cab a little bit.
Yeah.
That windshield, if we're coming from a Jeep, which is a very small little windshield, to this, I feel like I am a fish in a fish in a fishbowl. So we're gonna darken those up a little bit and probably put some tin on the front windshield to clear, just so we can stay a little bit cooler. But,
Yeah, I did a ceramic
mhm.
on the front and then tinted the two front windows, and it's a game changer. Just
Yeah,
the first couple weeks just driving it home, you're getting like sunburned on your left arm, and it's
oh,
just even with the AC blasting, it's almost unbearable. And once that tint was on, it makes a huge
yeah.
difference.
We have that VanWise shelf with the curtain too, so we'll shut that if we're just gonna do a short trip, and it seems to kind of keep all the cool air in the cab, which is
Oh yeah.
nice. Now, do you guys run? Being a novice, we've been running the air conditioning in the I guess the back part while we're driving. You guys do that as well, just to cool the entire coach up.
We
Just depends
have,
on how hot it is.
It's 90 plus degrees
yeah,
here
we have with
lately,
the
so it's
dog.
okay. So it's cool to do that and just run down a highway
Yeah,
with
you
that
can
AC
definitely
run.
do that. There's nothing wrong about it. I found that
Right.
because so I had like thermal curtains that went across. I had two of them, so I would say at least a third of the side to side was dual layered. But I would open them up and I would let the van AC go back there, and I had like thermometers literally everywhere. But after like 30 minutes of driving and having like the ice cold AC run, Like I didn't need the rear AC going, even in like the hottest temperatures. So
Okay.
like if you have your dog's back there and you like for whatever reason get back from a hike or I don't know whatever and you decide to take off, then I would definitely put the AC on. But then like at first chance or whatever, like I would turn the AC off. Um, so you can pick up like a Bluetooth thermometer, like super cheap on Amazon. And so if you put it on the very back of the van, and then you can just see like what the temp is, and then you'll know when to turn the AC off. So that's a little tip, pro tip.
Oh,
But yeah, you don't need it on all the time,
yeah.
is what I'm trying to say. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, especially when you're driving, you can do like a quick spurt, like of just turn it on, cool it off, work like when you first get in the
Mm-hmm.
van, and then click it off. I mean, I would say we never ran it at all until this last bit watching the dogs, and then it was just like, okay, it's hot because we were out of the lake or whatever. We didn't run the AC when we were gone. Open it up, put the dogs in, run the AC to cool it down quick, and then turn
Yeah.
it off again.
Okay.
And the other
Got it.
And I'll turn it on when I'm like packing up the van or getting ready to go. So it's like cools it down. And then once I start the chassis, I, we've yet to be anywhere, and that's Moab and Denver, where it's getting to, over 100, to where that, sitting in the front, that wasn't uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you have a dog in the back, maybe a little different
For sure.
story, but, yeah, I mean, use it before and after, not necessarily. I haven't found a need during.
Okay. Yeah. We've just been doing some short trips here and there, and it just seems to be, it's really nice and comfortable throughout the entire van when you have it on. But if you're going to go like Utah, I don't know. My son's going to be sitting in the back too, so I guess he's going to modulate how much air conditioning he wants and stuff like that. But yeah,
You just
That's what I
reach
was
up
gonna
and
say
adjust
too.
it
We
right
never have
there.
yeah,
a
it's easy.
Yeah, we never have a person in the back, but if you do have someone sitting on the groove lounge, like it does get hot back there, and the AC from the chassis doesn't necessarily
Mm-hmm.
get back there. So that's when we've turned it on in the past.
Yeah.
and the other thing too. Oh,
Oh, here's a question for you guys.
I
Oh,
was just gonna
sorry.
say
Go
the
ahead.
other thing too, if you're
Question.
traveling with dogs, and this is the only reason why I got it was because I had Kimchi with me. It was the fact that when you use the AC, it's a huge battery drain. Even though it'll last longer than the competitors, it's still a huge battery drain. So that being said, if you get the high idle, because really the only model that comes with a high idle built in is the beast, right? So you have the stealth. So if you go in and
Mm-hmm.
it's with the drone system, I think it's like $1,200 or $1,300, but it's well spent in regards to the fact that you'll be able to remotely turn your vehicle on to not only charge the vehicle, the Volta system, but also to be able to keep your pups cool. So that's something as far as like mods goes, you may want to look into. It might be a priority depending how much you love your dogs or not. I don't know. I'm just joking. Just
Yeah.
joking.
Well, fortunately,
And
it actually has it. Yeah, it
Wait,
actually has
what?
it in there too. I didn't mention that as far as when we picked the van.
oh,
The
so you
person
got a
who
stealth
built this,
Wait,
beast,
wait,
is what you bought.
wait. Hang on. So
it is. Yeah.
you
So
you
It's a
picked
stealth beast straight from the factory.
you
it's a
picked up the
drone.
stealth that was already
It's a mid
pre-built
city.
out, and Kanheo did that for the people that were gonna buy it, and the deal fell through, and then you picked it up. Is that what I'm hearing? Wow.
Yeah. So Rick is the owner at Conejo, and I'm pretty local to where he is, and I swang by there, looked at the Rebels a few times, and Jen and I looked at them. It's like I can't fit in the shower. I hit my head. This isn't gonna work. And we looked at the Storyteller that they had there, and we looked at it. We looked at each other. There's no way. This isn't going to work for us at all. So we just went about our lives and everything, and we did the Van Expo, and then we started really thinking about this Storyteller again. So I went down to Conejo, talked to Rick. Everybody there is just
Mm-hmm.
super chill. There's no pressure at all, and he showed me his van, and my Jeep was pretty well built, and I looked at his, and it's exactly like I would do it. And so he knew that, and I came by a few times and talked to him a little bit about it. And he was going to sell me that, but because the 23s really didn't change too much, he just decided he's going to keep it. There wasn't any point of him selling it and just doing the same exact thing over. And lo and behold, he says, I do have one that is very comparable to what I have. So he sent me the build sheet that they added, and the price underneath that. And I'm like, oh, I can't pass this up. So it's a year too early, but we just went ahead and just did it anyhow. But so it was really well equipped. Whoever was going to have this, he knew what he was doing when he asked for
Wow.
this stuff. So it's, yeah, we're
So
very fortunate. But I thought that the inhabit formats, we have that as well. I thought that would be a game changer for the dogs, but kind of like what you said, when you put the brakes on, they go across the floor still. So we might have to put some rubber mats down for them so they're a little bit more stable. I thought they would have been fine with it, but yeah.
One other thing that we've heard a lot about, and we haven't had the problem, we don't, much to Brittany's annoyance, I took the steps off of our van. But there is the factory steps, I guess. Like there's been some folks who have had problems with dogs stepping on them and their nails
Mm-hmm.
get caught in the steps and
Oh
rip
wow.
off. And it's like a big like thing, I guess, that is people have experienced. So just keep an eye on that if your dogs touch the steps
unless
when
you
they
have
get
the
in and
amp
out.
steps.
I don't know if they do or not. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No amp
Yeah.
steps. They're the stock ones.
But a
Yeah,
lot of
Yeah.
that's
people,
true.
Bunch of people use like AstroTurf and just like zip tie it right to the area on the step right in front of the door. That seems to work pretty well.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for
yeah,
that. That's awesome. Yeah. I
Or
think they just
Owl's
do
got
one lead.
steps for what, $2,500, and you just switch them out, no big deal.
no biggie. I mean, basically, you don't have to do anything to the van other than maybe the side step. So, I mean, that's kind of a plus in itself. So,
Yeah. I'd say we're very fortunate. Everything just fell in our lap. That's why we bought it a year too early,
yeah,
or
for
early.
sure.
So
Kind of jelly. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah,
Well,
we're
it gives you
excited to get
such a
on the
good
road.
Yeah, no
opportunity
such
to
thing as
learn
too
it
early.
before you're going on the road for your year straight. You can
Mm-hmm.
do weekend trips and week trips and really, you're not in a rush to figure out, oh, let me go buy every box and ladder and roof rack and, you know, put it through its paces and figure everything out and really decide where you want to spend your money on how to make it yours. That we got our same thing. It really fell into our lap. Got a call when we were in San Diego for my fiance's birthday, actually. We'd been out partying all night, and 8 a.m. I get a call that, hey, if you give me 10 grand today, the van's yours. Like, I can't even see straight. Um, so we had no trips planned, and we get the van in 2 weeks, but that was kind of cool because we didn't have a list of mods or upgrades already, and you just like, okay, well, every trip you're like, okay, we wish we would have had that, or we brought something, and you're like, we didn't touch that. We
Uh-huh.
definitely overpacked for the first several trips, and you kind of pare it down, and depending on where you're going or the length of stay, you've got like different setups you're going to bring with you, and so I think getting it a year early is probably going to be a great uh, turn of events for you for your long trip.
Yeah, that's the plan. And I agree. We're overpacking already, and I don't need. I think the really thing is you really have to use everything and just realize that you don't need all the pots and pans that you stuffed in the microwave and all this and that. But uh, we'll get there. Trial
Yeah,
and
I
error.
mean, everyone finds their own rhythm,
Hi, Jen.
and what they like and don't like, and you kind of just adjust. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll say, and I'm sure Chris and Brittany would back me up on this. Like, you find something that works for you like 6 months ago won't work for you the following, whatever X amount of time frame later, and it's just like this evolving thing. But that's like part of the fun of it, like nothing's ever the same and
Mm-hmm.
everything evolves, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
you roll with the punches, as they say.
Yeah, and a lot of times there'll be something that you're like, oh, maybe if we try doing things this way, or like we have this one piece of kit that we never knew about before, and we use that to change some way we store things or whatever, and then all of a sudden it changes everything about how you think about the stuff that you used for your van, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, I changed that, now I'm going to make five other changes. And it's a little bit addicting, but you end up having a really good time and learning a lot about your vehicle, which
And
is
I think
fun.
the other thing too is just go to all the meetups that you can and all the expos, because the industry is always evolving as well. And so I'm sure that the products that I saw from the vendors last year, they have new ones out this year, and like, you know, I'm sure Andy, being at that meetup yesterday, I'm sure you probably saw some cool stuff that you're like, oh man, kind of got you thinking, got the gears turning.
Oh yeah, it's show and tell for sure. I mean, everybody's getting a tour of everybody else's van. I wrapped my flare spaces with some like trail maps of some local Colorado ski resorts. And one of the guys that parked next to me comes up. He's like, "Man, I saw that on the Facebook page, and now I'm camping next to you. This is so cool." So yeah, it's super fun to just see how everybody's customized it. I mean, I have a Harley Davidson that I have pretty customized, so kind of similar to the Jeep world where you're making it your own, and so it's fun to get out and just see how everybody's put their own little stamp on it. You can have
Hmm.
6 pebble gray beasts parked in a row, but everybody's had its own little flair, which is just it's like going to a biker bar for me. It's so fun.
Yeah, no two Harleys alike, right?
It's exact
Yeah.
only when they leave the dealership.
What kind of Harley do you have? I'm actually, so I don't want to brag, but I bought a scooter. So it's a whopping 170 cc's. It I've taken it up to 60 miles an hour.
Nice.
Uh, but also I get like 90 mpgs on that bad boy. But it makes me want to get a motorcycle. So I was you know, just curious. Like, if I was gonna get a motorcycle, it'd either be like a Ducati, a Harley Davidson, and then just another one that I'm sure that's out there that I don't know exists. So like what are your suggestions? So first of all, I'm 5'1", so I'm pretty small. My legs are not long at all. I barely, like, when I'm on my little scooter, like I have to like tilt a little bit to get my, yeah.
Lean to the
So
side.
just curious, like, with your motorcycle experience.
So I drive a 2016 Street Glide Special. It's got a 103 cubic inch engine, which equates to like 1690 cc's, I think is the conversion. But that's a big boy
Okay.
bike. Probably weighs 800 pounds empty. So I would not recommend that as a first bike. But I don't know the Ducati world that much. Just knowing your van life experience and kind of explorer attitude, I would probably look at like an adventure bike. We can kind of you can ride on the highway, you can ride to the grocery store, but you can also get on a dirt trail and come to a van meetup and then rip around on a trail or whatnot. Follow these guys in their Jeeps or whatever you want to do. But some of those are tall too, so you really got to go throw a leg over it. I think that was the best thing when I picked my first bike out was, somebody just said like, you can ask all the questions, talk to as many bikers as you want. What do you want? What should I buy? You throw your leg over it, and it's like love at first sight when it's your bike. And you
Okay.
just know, and it's that, yeah.
Okay. No, that's.
Yeah,
The
Harley Sportsters
Oh,
they can
really?
actually lower it as well.
Hmm.
So
If,
you're vertically challenged
mhm.
like
You
maybe
can
my better half is. You can actually get it lowered so
Oh,
you'll
nice.
be flat footed at least,
yeah, and they've got some
both feet on the
small ones.
ground.
The Sportsters, the Iron 883s are pretty small bikes. And yeah, so
Mm.
if you ever go to a Harley dealership, they took the sales training is very well taught in the Harley business. So do not walk in and expect to not get the hard sell. But if you go in knowing that it's palatable, right? And so like when you first start trying out a bike, the first sales guy that will talk to you is what's called a fit specialist, and he'll put new seats on it to lower it. He'll adjust the suspension, get you handlebars. So once they get you comfortable that the bike fits you, then the big guy comes out from the back with the numbers and and the
The
hard
sales
sell. But
manager.
they do a great job of making sure you get the bike that fits you really
Yeah,
well.
Yeah.
that's the only reason why I have not stopped in a shop yet, because I know I'm gonna walk out with something. So, I mean,
Yeah. Be prepared. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
I got mine on New Year's Eve
I will say
on
that
2016. I want to say I had plans to go to a New Year's Eve party, and um, I didn't want to day drink when all my buddies were out day drinking. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the motorcycle dealership and test ride some bikes. That's good, fun, sober activity, right? And I'll still be able to make it to midnight. And but I was like, it's the last day of the year, last day of the quarter, last day of the month. Like if you're gonna get a deal, January or December 31st is the time to wheel and deal, and I think I got it for 8 or 9 grand under MSRP before I walked out
Really?
the door. So you can really haggle at the Harley. They don't have the see-through pricing like
Mm.
Storyteller, that's for
I
sure.
wonder if it's the same way with this kind of market though, because I know when I was at the scooter shop, uh, the lady was telling me that they had just gotten a shipment in, and she's like, yeah, within 2 weeks, all this is going to be gone. And then when I went to go pick up my scooter, like a little over a month later, that they had a new shipment in, and she was like, yeah, like we've been out of stock for like the last 2 weeks or whatever, and then we just got our shipment in like 2 days ago, which is when your bike arrived, blah blah blah. And so like there's just zero negotiation. Like I paid like $5,000 over my car's retail price, so I'm just kind of curious if it's the same way in the motorcycle business.
Yeah, I haven't been in there to actually inquire about buying a new bike for a while. Mostly because it takes about 10 grand to upgrade it the way you like
Mm.
it. So you hate to trade the one you just put 10 grand into to get the newest, latest, greatest, and then put another
So
10
it's
into
a
that.
mini
So
storyteller.
um, it really is.
Oh yeah.
Harleys make them with disposable parts. I always tell people you're really buying a blank canvas, and 90% of the parts on the Harley are disposable. And then you got to go make it look the way you want it.
Gotcha. Chris, sounds like, or it looked like you had some tips and advice.
Yeah, I was just gonna say like it depends on the type of bike you're looking for, but Royal Enfield has some
Mm.
bikes that are definitely better for like a smaller fit. They have adventure bikes and like more classic cruisers, and then I've ridden some Moto Guzzi's that are also like a lot better designed for like a smaller fit. And I speak to this knowing that I've ridden these bikes and I look like
You look like Happy
absolutely
Gilmore.
ridiculous on them at 6'4". I actually, yeah, I actually like really wanted Royal Enfield for a long time, and I went to the dealership. And it's funny that you were saying to Andy about like the hard sell because I went to the dealership and I sat on one, and the guy said, "I can't sell you a bike in this shop. I just won't do it. You look so bad."
Hey,
I was like,
but you referred
"Okay,
everybody else you've ever met to that dealer, right? Because at least he's the one honest one you've ever met.
right,
That's
So that's the opposite of knowing what your
exactly."
bike when you throw your leg over the right bike. If the salesman comes out of the back office and goes, "Dude, I'm not selling you a bike here," then you got to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I I rode Ducatis for a bit. I had a 748 that I really liked, and I found that they can be a pretty tall bike depending. So I don't know if you've sat on Ducatis either, but depending on the bike you get there, they were a good fit for me. So it may not be ideal for you, but like Andy and Steven said, like you can definitely lower them down. You can swap seats. There's a lot you can do to
okay.
customize any
I'm
bike
gonna
really
have
that
to
you
keep that
want
in
to what
mind.
you can
Thank you.
The, the Triumph Bonneville line might be a good one to kind of check out. They're pretty small and they make them as small as like 900 cc's, I think. They make a cool scrambler edition that pretty neat to get a little off road too if you were into that type of.
Cool. I'm excited.
want. Isn't Lee
Yeah,
at
he is.
Storyteller like the
He's.
motorcycle master? I'm pretty sure that
I'm
he
pretty
like
sure
yeah, he
from
knows like
the
everything there is to
grapevine,
know.
from what I've heard, he's broken like world records and stuff. So yeah, yeah, he's a badass. I'm gonna have to hit him up.
Yeah,
So,
he's
but
serious.
anyways, thanks for the advice. I appreciate it. I know we got kind of off subject, but that's what I love about happy hour. You can just talk about like whatever. It's
Right.
it's awesome. So
When I've met more than a few storyteller owners that either have or had bikes, it's a very the customization, the community factor of it. It's a very linear kind of connection. So that's been kind of cool. Most of the ones I've met so far like had toured on motorcycles and have kind of traded in the bike for the storyteller. But
mm.
um, yeah, I'd probably say 30% of the storytellers owners I've met out there are also motorcycle riders. So kind of a cool connection I did not necessarily foresee when I signed on the dotted line, you know.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah. I'm actually thinking about settling up over in the Denver area. So if I do that and I get a bike, we're gonna have to go riding for sure.
We'll go up to Evergreen. That's one of our favorite places to go ride. It was funny talking to the guys at the meetup, and they're like, "Have you ever been here before? Have you ever been to this bar before?" And I was like, "Actually, my fiance and I's first date was a motorcycle ride up to Evergreen to go to Little Bear where the concert was last night." So it was kind of cool little circling it all up, you know.
Yeah, that must have been really special.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Denver's great unless you're a touring musician. Denver's a great place to be because there's so many cool places to get to, with just in a couple hour drive, and
Yeah.
and our airport might be in the middle of nowhere, but you can get a direct flight to just about anywhere, which is cool because it's like the second biggest airport or busiest airport in the country, I think now.
Oh, really? Holy cow. Yeah. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
from the Pacific Northwest, so I'm kind of with Stephen and Jenny in regards to I got to have the ocean. So we'll see where I end up.
Nope.
But
None of that out here. There. Yeah.
yeah, after staying here in Austin another summer, I'm just like, I don't know what I was thinking staying in Austin. Out of anywhere I could have stayed in the entire United States, I'm pretty sure with like 100% accuracy that I chose the wrong place. But anyways,
Have you been down to
where's that?
Matagorda Island? So if you're in Texas, it's kind of a hidden gem. It is
Okay.
down south of Houston along the coast, and it is basically like you have to get like a permit. It's really cheap, but it's an open island, like sandbar island, where
Oh,
you can
cool.
drive 4-wheel drives and camp and fish. And unlike
Oh,
Padre,
cool.
it's both the front and the back side are open. So you can go onto the island and there's like sandy 2 tracks in there, and you can go back in there and like hang out and camp. And like if you need like a taste of the ocean, like Texas obviously isn't the best
Okay.
on the
Yeah, I'm
Gulf,
definitely
but
gonna have to check
that's
that
about
out.
as
Thank
good as
you.
it gets.
Because I went to South Padre and that was all right, but I mean, living in the van, going everywhere, you kind of get spoiled. I feel like once you go first class, you can't go back. So, but oh really?
We talk about it all
Travel
the time.
princess?
We get really jaded.
That's me. No, I'm just joking.
It's a
But
problem.
anyways, all right. Well, it's been great talking to you guys. It's been almost an hour and a half, and I know you guys' time is precious. I just want to thank you again for coming on, and I guess if you have anything else to say, like now is the time to probably do it. But if not, I do appreciate it. Yeah, it's been so much
Oh,
fun,
thanks for
and
having us on.
I need to start taking that Pepsid, whatever that thing's called. Yeah, Pepsid AC.
Pepsid
But
AC.
Fixes
Yeah.
heartburn and the red skin. So it's really good for red
yeah.
wine, right? Red wine's supposed to cause a little extra heartburn, anyways.
Oh, that's true because it's acidic.
True.
Claritin. That's what I tried. Now I remember. That didn't do anything. I'm gonna have to get with Jenny offline and try to find out all the secrets. But anyways,
Mhm.
but yeah. Anyways, thanks for coming on. It's been
Yeah.
fantastic. I've had a blast. I hope you guys did too, and I can't wait to see and meet you guys in person or see you again. So, cheers, everyone.
All right.
Stonation is a production of Park Media. The executive producer is Younghwa Kim. The audio engineer is
Stephen Grasso.
The marketing director is
Guillaume Golson.
The original music and artist is done by
Jason Walsmith.
The sound designer is
Lorenzo Interiano.
and the webmaster is
Peng Shi.
Without any of these people, this podcast couldn't happen, so a big, huge thank you. And a big, huge thank you to you, the listener. If you like this episode, please don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a 5-star review. This is Younghwa with Stonation, and I can't wait to share the road with you.